making yourself available to you more than you've done for others, probably for the first time in your life. And it's when you've done something for so long, it's so easy to get back into it. You know, just like it's easy to do something, it's easy to not do it. How do you maintain focus when attacking your goals? A little more of the same, really, from the previous topic. It's just maintaining your mindset. You know what I'm saying? Keeping a healthy mindset, making sure you are engaging in things that benefit you. Um, it's not easy getting caught up in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get caught up in the world, you tend to do what the world does. You become part of the herd versus, like, you have to understand, if majority of people are doing it, it's probably not going to be much growth in it, because most people tend to do what's it's common. If you're trying to grow, you're trying to do something outside of what your normal is, you're going to have to do things that are outside of your normal. So if it's something that everyone is doing commonly, most cases, it's not gonna be growth for you. You know what I'm saying? Like most things, like a herd culture that we have as people, the the average, you know, there's average for a reason, and when you set out to be something greater than your own average, your own definition of average. You know, it has nothing to do with anybody else but what you want to do for your life, right? And there's no shot at anyone living the way that they choose to live. But when you decide that you want something different for yourself, you're going to have to do things a little bit differently than what you've been doing. And so maintaining focus on goals, writing them down for one, writing down your goals and looking at them every fucking day, looking at your goals. And I know for sure, especially lately, I've gotten off track with looking at goals and, you know, getting caught up in trying to get the you know what I'm saying, the love, if you will, being just so caught up like in your phone and shit, you know what I mean? People pleasing, and you can get off course. It's okay. It happens it happens to everybody. It's like people that, you know, start off going to the gym, and then before you know it, they're not in the gym. And you wonder, how the hell did that happen? Little things happen. That's why it's important to have discipline. And that's how you maintain attacking your goals. You have to have discipline. And it's going to require a lot more discipline than I anticipated. You know, obviously, for like to stay on top of goals, and will definitely stay on top of goals. I mean, it's recognizing it. You know what I mean? Sometimes we get on autopilot and just doing things, and you realize you're doing this for other people, and then like you're not saving enough for you again, and you have to have that moment. You have to have those moments where you take care of you. A lot of us as kids were taught to take care of everybody else, and not take care of ourselves. So when we become adults, that's what the fuck we do. We do the same shit again. And I mean, as far as being a kid, that wasn't our doing. You know, that was something that we were taught to do. Being an adult, there's no excuses for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like trying to untrain the mind to do said thing. You know what I mean? And work on being a you know, a better person mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And you do that by attacking your goals and focusing and worrying, you know, focus on you. And because other people are grown, they can take care of themselves, and you're not responsible for anyone but yourself. Um, and the thing is that people that can see that you're about helping other people, they'll go after that. You know what I mean? They'll move towards. They can see that they're very people are very very intelligent when it comes to that. They know for people that are willing to do things for others, and they will take as much as you can give them. So it's important to have boundaries with that, and stand on those boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Be willing to be alone. Like, even if it means setting a boundary and you're left alone, then the boundary was for that individual that you set the boundary with. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's about. It's how you love yourself and everyone else. You know what I'm saying? You have respect for yourself and everyone else in doing so. And it can be challenging. It really can be challenging trying to be about your goals and wanting to, maintain, friendships or whatever relationships, you know what I mean? And being so highly productive that you get so caught up in your ego, and your ego thrives off of something that you felt like you didn't receive much as a child, which is attention. You know what I mean? So you think that by trying to be there for everybody else, that's going to keep that love, that you mistake for the attention that you mistake for love. And you have to see the difference. You have to know the difference, and recognize when people, the difference between people valuing you for you and people who love what you do for them. And you have to see it. You have to see it. You have to separate yourself. You have to see who truly gives a fuck about the things that you want versus just themselves. Who practices healthy boundaries, who can see when you're doing something for yourself and they're actually supportive of it. You know what I'm saying? Don't necessarily have to be overjoyed, but just like supportive of your own decisions that you make for yourself, because none of the decisions that you make are about anybody else but you. And being able to recognize snakes in the grass. It's like I said, you learn as you get older, as you experience more things throughout life. As far as who's truly out, like who's truly for you in this life, and who isn't. And sometimes you got to take a step back and assess what's for you and what's not. And goal, like I said, goals though. You stay on top of those goals by aligning that stuff up. Having all those things organized, and it takes time, man. It takes time, especially like when your autopilot is known that you come from a toxic autopilot. You have to untrain these things that have been done. The manipulation that you were once under, whether it was intentional or unintentional, the form of manipulation that you were under, and learning to make the best decisions for you. You have to learn to make the best decisions for you, and stay on top of your shit. Discipline is it's very very beneficial with goals. Like, whatever goals you have set out, don't have any self-doubt. Don't talk yourself out of your goals. Make sure that you're staying accurate with yourself. Being true to what you actually want, versus doing what somebody else wants you to do. And that's how you can get off. That's how you can get off course with your goals, when you start incorporating whatever everyone else's wants, just to get validated in some form or fashion. And it's okay. We're human, and some, we try to recreate our childhood as adults. So what I'm saying, like, if your needs weren't met as a kid, you grow up trying to fulfill those needs in various forms, and how we engage with others around us. At least I believe that's what I believe. I firmly believe in that. At least for me, I'm growing. I'm growing. I truly am. I can see it. Remember to take it easy on yourself when you set, lofty goals for yourself. There's nothing wrong with setting goals for yourself. Just wanting to be on task. You definitely want to be on task, and it's rewarding when you're able to fulfill these goals. And so just one thing I recommend is just being disciplined. Look at your goals daily, as much as you can, and forgive yourself, right? Take it easy on yourself, have grace. Talk to yourself as if you would talk to somebody else, because some of us talk to ourselves like they're the worst person in the world. But we wouldn't say that to any of our friends, you know what I'm saying, or anyone else, you know what I'm saying? But just remembering to treat yourself like, a human, and not a robot that is perfect. Understanding perfection is an illusion. You know what I'm saying? Practice makes progress, not perfect. Practice makes progress. And make mistakes so that you can get better. You have to learn to make mistakes, and truly learn to not care what others think of you, which is a challenge for some of us. If that's what we've always wanted, we cared about what other people thought about us. So learning to not give a fuck what anyone thinks, stand on top of your goals, maintaining that discipline, things will get better. How do you deal with healing your own wounded inner child? It seems like all of these are connected, right? You deal with your wounded inner child by detaching yourself from yourself. And I mean that as if you were like looking at yourself from the galaxy. You know what I mean? Actually got a galaxy around me, but it's kind of like my thought. The reason why I always, think from the galaxy, you want to look at yourself and see how small you are from space, and looking down at the situation, how small it is. But in our minds, that shit can be colossal. It can be gigantic, and it's very small what we're dealing with. But it's perspective, right? So wounded inner child, you deal with it trying to face the pain as much as you can, because it ain't easy. I know it. I know it's not easy for me. I do my best effort in trying to maintain strength when it comes to dealing with the wounded inner child, but a lot of times it can be overwhelming, and it fucks with you. And when it fucks with you, you have to take a step back. You have to give yourself grace. You have to be mindful. You have to practice mindfulness. Recognize what you're feeling. Understand the difference between what's actually happened and how you feel, like emotions wise. And, you can get lost. Truthfully, you can get lost, man. Get caught up in trying to do for everybody else except for you. Like, you have to be unapologetically selfish to work on yourself. Fighting old habits can be a bitch. Yeah, it can be a bitch, man. And it's funny how the personalities the energy that we knew as children somehow or another finds us again as adults, and like learning to break those cycles, and seeing how you can allow yourself to be taken advantage of, or easily manipulated, and learning how to see the forest from the trees, if you will. Managing your emotions a hell of a lot better. Seeing things for what they are instead of what you want it to be. Clearing the fog. Clearing the fog. Making yourself available to you more than you've done for others, probably for the first time in your life. And it's when you've done something for so long, it's so easy to get back into it. You know, just like it's easy to do something, it's easy to not do it. And I see myself going through challenges. You know, have my mental challenges or whatever. There's times where I just, I get overwhelmed. And whenever I get overwhelmed, I retort to my center, and I look within. And because the old me looks, external, tries to seek someone else to fix the problem instead of myself. And then when it's not done, that's the blame. The blame is on that. But there's only one person responsible for you, and that is you. You're the only one responsible for you. It's great, yeah. You can get, I'm sure you can get like support. Obviously, I don't work on cars, so I get support. And I go to the car dealership or wherever, Tire Plus, to get my car fixed. Or what I'm saying, I don't cook this particular meal, so I'll go to a restaurant where they can do it. You got support. You don't want to think you're not able to just take on everything essentially by yourself. But there are certain missions in life that are just about you. And it's you, and no one else can save you. And yeah, accepting the fact that no one can save you but yourself, and no one's going to look out for you and value you what you want to do like yourself. So accept it. Accept the fact that this battle in life is about you versus you yesterday, and seeing what can be done to improve yourself mentally. And it's all right. It's okay. It's just seeing those things that come up when you get triggered and traumatized. For those of us who went through things and we went through something traumatic. We went through something that we didn't feel we were able to handle, and we had to do it alone. And once you get hit with that, it hits you in an instant, and then you're in protective mode, survival mode kicks in, and cortisol levels are rising. Stress is like insane, and you don't know who is who. You know what I'm saying? Like because you've been betrayed by someone. Once you've been betrayed by someone that was supposed to have your best interest, you will doubt, mostly everything from then on. And it's more about understanding you and your abilities to trust versus anyone else. You know what I mean? It's not about anybody else but you. Your ability to set healthy boundaries, your abilities to speak up, your abilities to be okay with not being understood, your ability to be strong, your ability to know when you're weak and accepting it. You know what I'm saying? And just being human. Yeah, just being human. And some days where I'm driving the wheel, the adult me is driving the wheel. And there's days where wounded inner child me is like, I got this shit. I'm going to stress the fuck out. I'm going to be overwhelmed. I'm afraid. So I feel afraid, so I'm going to do what everyone else wants me to do so I don't feel alone. Or you know what I'm saying, unloved, or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, like when you've been conditioned to do what everyone wants you to do. That wounded inner child can be overwhelming, and seeing yourself. Yeah, like I said, once you've been able to like detach yourself, you can see yourself going through this, and it's not healthy, and you have to recognize any unhealthy attachment too, because believing that you're not you without that thing is going to control you. You know what I'm saying? And you're fine just the way you are. We all are. You know what I'm saying? Like we have our own. We're essentially like a baby looking for a mom. Or a baby looking for that parent to kind of facilitate this to make you feel whole, but you're the person that you are your own parent. As an adult, you have to reparent yourself. You know, you'll see some people who get older, they get into relationships, you know what I'm saying, marriages, and the one person feels like a parent to a child, you know? Sometimes it could be both, where you turn to this particular mate to do all this shit for you, and it's when you clearly can do it yourself, you just you lost, you don't have the confidence and the courage to figure it out. You know, you want to turn to somewhere and have it done, and then be upset when it's not done, and no one owes you anything, and and when you feel like you start to have that negative self-talk when you're not able to do something, like you set out to do something, and you know, you essentially fail, like you're not able, you haven't figured out how to do it just yet. So you essentially fail at it, and then you tell yourself that you're not worthy or whatever in your mind. You know what I'm saying? It might not come out verbally, but how you know, your self-talk or whatnot. And that's, like I said, that's all in healing that wounded inner child, because we're just doing the best we can. We all are just doing the best we can, and you know, you have to, like, as far as healing the wounded inner child, being honest that you even have one. Separating your self from the action, like you know, you feel anger, you're not angry, you feel anger, you know, you're not weak, you feel weak, you're not strong, you know, you feel, you know, like you feel strong or whatever, you know, you fill in the blank, motherfuckers, you get what I'm saying. And it's like I said, this life is, it's funny, man, it's just funny. We get caught up in trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to keep up with the ego, believing that it's a part of us, and the ego doesn't even exist. It's not even real. But somehow, some way, man, like our egos can have us on this whirlwind trip, and after a while, you don't even recognize what you've become. Sometimes you don't recognize what you've done, and it could be a lot. You know, and it's like, so all these masks that we create as humans, as people, to survive, really, it's really just to survive, and they're helpful, but they all have an expiration date, and it's all about us paying attention to it. You know, like paying attention to, excuse me, paying attention to when it no longer serves you, when these things no longer are healthy for you. It might have served you at one point in time. It's just, you know, was it meant to keep forever? Just like people, you know what I'm saying? Like when you get to a certain altitude in life, you're going to lose people. And that's hard when, you know, you've been hell-bent on, like in your life, about being loyal to something, or you've been made to feel guilty for trying to, you know, better yourself. And you want to feel like, you know what I'm saying, like you lose sight of them, but you got to be unapologetically selfish, going after what you want in this life, man. You know, everybody can't go with you, and you have to really truly decide, you know, what's best for you. And I don't know, you know, you just see things a hell of a lot different as you get more in touch with your wounded inner child, and see where these toxic things that you once thrived on, you once lived for, and seeing where it no longer serves you, and that you were strong all along. You know, like you had it in you all along to get through something. You didn't have to depend upon this. You can lose the codependency. You can see that you are strength, you are love. You know what I'm saying? You embody that just by being human and by believing in yourself. And I don't know, sometimes things get scary, fearful. And that's where the wounded inner child comes in, because that person didn't have someone there for them in a scary time. And whenever that individual, that wounded inner child, drives the ship, it will cause us to do things, feel like we need to do things, you know, to keep the boat from rocking, you have to trust that you're going to be fine in that storm, on that boat, as long as you believe in yourself. So, I mean, we learn, you know what I'm saying? We just learn shit like that. But the wounded inner child is merely just our anger, our fears. Yeah, it's just our fears, and learning how to manage those a hell of a lot better when we engage with the people in this life. So healing your wounded inner child, you sit with your little person. For me, little Rome, I call him little Rome. You sit with him and you assure his safety. He's gonna be okay. And you talk with him every day. You take care of him. Be what you needed when you were little. You know what I'm saying? In those times, because you're strong enough to do it. And see improvements. Take it day by day, one brick at a time. Don't try to build the house in one day. It's gonna take time. Some days are gonna be better than others, but one day at a time. Recognize you're human and take care of little Rome. What are some known bad decisions in life? Number one, I would probably say allowing my own fears and perfectionism to get in the way of my parent. That's number one. You know what I'm saying? Because once they're born, it's no longer about you. And having a baby as a kid, you don't recognize those things. Obviously there's stuff I can go back and do. There's plenty of things all of us as parents would really do, but obviously we did the best that we could. Known bad decisions: allowing toxic people to stay longer than necessary in life for putting people's needs before mine. So that tied together, allowing toxic people to stay in my life longer than necessary, and then putting people's needs before mine. And it's a program, it's a program to put others before yourself. That's what you're gonna do. And yeah, just the challenge of unfucking yourself. Bad decisions. Choosing to be in a relationship with someone based off of, for your ego versus what was actually best for you. That was one of that's what I look back at it as one of the bad decisions that I made at one point in my life. And because essentially I chose validation versus value. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of us have done that shit and be like, wow, that person really didn't give a fuck about me. You know what I'm saying? It didn't matter how head over heels you were. It didn't matter how much and essentially it was unhealthy what you were doing anyway, pouring that much into a person as if they are more human than you are. And that's what I had to learn. I had to learn to see women as just being human, no matter whatever affection or liking that I had for them, and that they were not more important than I was. You know what I'm saying? Essentially, you have to be your own focus. You have to be your mental point of origin. Especially being a man of purpose, seeing things for how does it benefit you? You know what I'm saying? Does this feel good? You know how you feel when you're around this person, when you talk to this person, that it makes your skin crawl. But you're still here. Why are you staying? What reason? You know what I'm saying? You don't feel okay. You're staying for validation of some sort. And what do you really need it for? Your ego? Fuck your ego, man. So learning to see who values you versus who likes your resources and loves what you do for them. You know what I'm saying? Known bad decisions. That night with the cranberry and goose. What else, man? I don't say that jokingly, but okay, bad decisions. Looking back, seeing that it's bad. You don't know good or bad until once you look back, but leaving situations like too soon and staying in situations too long. Those are bad decisions. Looking back at a lot of those things that I've done, you know what I'm saying? It's like staying in something that didn't benefit me far too long, and then leaving something before it was even cooked. You know what I'm saying? I left your house before you even finished dinner. Is essentially what I did. Putting people on pedestals. Anyone, you know what I'm saying? Everyone but me. You know, inadvertently. That is, because with an ego and having narcissistic tendencies and shit like that, you put yourself up there. It's just not as blatant as what you were doing for others. You know what I'm saying? Like holding these people to high ass expectations of not hurting you when you decide what hurts you. I mean, if it's not physical, as far as the words go, it's all about your interpretation of it, and that's something that's hard for us to understand. We have that much power in our brain, but if we've been programmed that this hurts, then we're gonna say that this hurts. But just like we did the programming for that it hurts, we can also program that it doesn't, or even just remove ourselves from the situation altogether. Moving back home. Close to home, was a bad decision for my mental health. Essentially, it goes back to expectations. You know what I'm saying? I believing that you know what I'm saying, you were gonna have like this big ass happy family type shit, and things don't always go as planned. And accepting it, like when you thought you had more control than you really do. You don't have control. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no control. You don't have as much control as you thought you did. Staying in a relationship because you felt shamed. You felt shame for being caught doing something. Essentially, and you weren't even in a committed one. That was a bad decision. I know, looking back at it, it caused more harm than help for, I would say, the both of us. What other bad decisions have I made? Not speaking up on a lot in life. Whether that's within the family, whether that's at the job, whether that's with, unruly personalities. But those are bad decisions. Again, putting others before you, and you get swamped, you get overwhelmed, and people will take advantage if you let them. You know what I'm saying? So if I can pass that on to anybody, to make better decisions by being able to do your best to speak up. I allowed my trauma to keep me in a place where I could not speak up, and essentially it haunted me for a long time. It haunted me. Accidentally tasting blue cheese, the worst ever experience. Yeah, blue cheese, never again. Will it? Yeah, never again. Chunky shit, no chunky shit on wings. No, don't want it. No blue cheese, no nothing. I don't want blue cheese meals or nothing. If you invite me to your house and you make a meal with blue cheese and you don't tell me, those are deal breakers. Those are deal breakers. I don't give a fuck what you are. And that goes for family, friends, enemies. Don't invite me. Don't make any fucking meals with blue cheese in it. There's a few movies I've gone to go see that have been just horrible. Pulse is one of them. Pulse. If you ever come across Pulse on your program guide or streaming services, skip right the fuck over. Misleading little girls. I was young though, middle school, high school, early 20s, misleading, believing that, we had something going on, and but it wasn't. And it wasn't until I got older till I was kind of you know, more upfront about that shit. And truth be told, some women respect you for it. Others, within their own ego and their own expectations, you know, they get pissed off and all that. But being straight about that, intentions and shit, putting my value in other people, essentially. Yeah, when you put putting your value, yourself, you put your self-esteem into somebody else. Sounds retarded saying it out loud, right? But putting your worth in someone. And no one, if that person controls your worth, they control you. So you're practically a puppet. But you have to see the value in oneself. And being something you're not, that's another bad decision. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to be something to be considered validated. Again, ego. That damn ego. That's a bad decision, allowing the ego to bring his ass right back in there and try to take over. But, you know, every decision I've made has brought me to this current point. So I'm grateful for those decisions, good or bad. You know, like I said, looking back, it's all about perspective. And I'm grateful for what it taught me. I'm grateful for what it teaches me. I'm grateful for what it's teaching me and what's going to happen in the future. But yeah, those are some of my bad fucking decisions I've made in my life.